Thank you, Twan. Welcome, Douglas County. My name is Kelly Robinson. Welcome to the Monday, September 18, 2023 Finance Committee of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. We have enough members here for quorum. We'll go around the room and establish that through a roll call. And we got a pretty simple agenda today, so we're going to get just right into it. So first, I'll start with myself to declare that I am present. Kelly Robinson, present, chairman of the committee. I know Chairman Phil Miller may be running a little late, so we're going to keep going.
Tiffany Stewart Stanley, present.
Rosalind Miller, present.
Very good. That's at least the 3 members for a quorum. So let's pause there just for a minute so we can establish this. So real quick, Director Miller, is Suzanne going to be part of this committee structure?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. What about Jill? I'm looking for formal voting members. If I impanel them, are they just here for support? Or are they committed to being here? I'm gonna let y'all make a call.
Suzanne, a voting member,
Okay.
and Jill, I guess,
Support?
support.
All right, that's fine. All right, we got enough for that. So with that being said, I'd like to call a motion to establish, what is Suzanne's last name again?
Norris.
Norris. I'd like to call a motion to establish and impanel Suzanne Norris as a voting member of the Finance Committee of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners.
Second.
No, did somebody say yes or no?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'd say I make a motion. I make the motion, yes.
All right, can I get a second?
A second. Yes, Rosalind, I second it.
Thank you. We got a motion and a second. All right, any discussion to establish Suzanne Norris as a voting member of the Douglas County Finance Committee, effective immediately? If no questions, then the voting members that are here, the 3 of us, we're going to go around the room and establish for the record your name and your vote. Kelly Robinson votes yes.
Tiffany Stewart Stanley.
Rosalind Miller, yes.
All right, we got a 3-0 unanimous vote. We now have a 4th, a 5th member, because Chairman Miller obviously is one, but we have another member to the Finance Committee, Suzanne. If she's out here, welcome, and we appreciate your presence. And we'll brief you later. You just have to flow with this meeting on how things flow. But welcome aboard.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Madam Director Rosalind, you have the floor. Take us forward.
All right. And I'm not sure if we identified Suzanne Norris. She is the deputy CFO for Douglas County.
Well, why don't we just take a has she been formally introduced at all in any of our meetings? We're gonna do it now.
Formal. Yeah, I don't think
Suzanne,
formal.
tell us a little bit about yourself. You got the vote, you got the public in front of us, but for the committee's sake, welcome aboard. What's your role? Where you come from? You got a little PSA. Go right ahead.
Great, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. I'm Suzanne Norris. I'm Deputy CFO here for Douglas County. Moved here recently from Knoxville, Tennessee, where I worked for Knox County. And then prior to that, I was in Wyoming, and I worked for the state of Wyoming for a healthcare facility there. So I'm excited to be here and look forward to being able to help.
Welcome. I'm sure you're going to bring a lot of value to us. Thank you for joining us and accepting this assignment. And also, I just want to announce, is Jill here? Yes, I want. Is David Good here as well? You guys?
Yes, Commissioner, I'm here.
All right, great.
Commissioner Robinson, this is Jill.
All right, I'll have questions for y'all toward the end. So, Rosalind, go ahead with the agenda, and we'll come back.
Okay. So today on the agenda, for the agenda is the approval of the minutes for August the 14th of 2023. And then the business items is just the monthly financial report for August.
That's fine, no problem. I know next month it'll be pretty full, so we'll roll through this one, since we're going into the budget retreat next month. So that being said, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the meeting minutes of August 14th, 2023.
So moved.
I'll second it myself. All right, we're going to go around the room for the 4 voting members. You have to again establish your name, pronounce your name for the record, and how you yes or no. So Kelly Robinson, yes.
Tiffany Stanley, yes.
Rosalind Miller, yes.
Suzanne Norris, yes.
All right, we got a 4 all unanimous voting of the voting members that are here. Suzanne, you got it. See how easy that was? You fell right into that. So thank you for that. So the meeting minutes do pass, and we're going to keep moving. Rosalind, let's talk about the financial report since that's next up.
Okay, so we will talk about the finance report. Let me get, again, this is for August, the month of August, and the revenue collections, you're at 23.75%. You've collected 23.75% of your total revenue. And as you may be aware, that majority of your revenue comes in towards the end of the year, and that's the property tax. Your total expenditures are for the month of, I have my date wrong, but for the month of August, it's 83.5 million. That's your expenditures. And when you compare August of 2022 with your August of 2023, it's about 10.5 million more than last year. And that is due to the salary incentives and also other charges that we'll go into during this report. Your SPLOST has increased by 8% when compared to 2022, and it's increased about $222,000 compared to last year. And today we'll go over the 4 major funds, and that is your general fund, your UNINC, fire services, and your animal control for the month of August. So for general fund, your total revenue is 30.8 million. However, your expenditures is 83.5 million. When comparing your revenue over your expenditures, there is a deficit of 52.6 million. But again, towards the end of the year, you will receive, you'll be back in the positive. But right now, you're paying for your operations with your working cash flow, which is also your fund balance. So that's what's supporting the government until you receive your tax, your property tax. So last year's beginning balance, which was last year's ending, was 51.9. So if you minus the deficit of the 52.6, your ending fund balance is 764. However, you do have obligations. You have outstanding encumbrance and some other funds that are restricted, so you're holding. And so your unassigned fund balance is in the negative of 5.4 million. And of course, your ending is the 764,000. So when you look at your UNINC fund, when you take a look at the revenue of the 3.2 and your expenditures of 8.9, it's the same for your uninked fund. However, they have insurance. The biggest portion of the revenue is in the insurance premium tax that they receive. And again, that is received towards the end of October. So when you compare your revenue with your expenditures, you're in the negative 5.6 million. Your fund balance is 7.8. That was the beginning. So when you minus the 7.8 minus the negative of your 5.6, you have an ending fund balance of 2.1 million. However, you do have some obligations with the outstanding POs of 65,000. So you're unassigned, meaning that you can use 2.1 million for the operations of this fund. These funds are not restricted. So your next fund is fire services, and total revenue is 17.6, and your total expenditure is 14 million. And your fire services, they receive funding from the entities, the government entities, the cities and the county, and they receive funds monthly. So they do not have to wait towards the end of the year. They receive their funding monthly. Plus with fire, they have ambulance fees too that contributes to their revenue. So when you look at their revenue minus their expenditures, they have an overreach of 3.6 million. Their beginning fund balance was 564,000. So when you add the 564,000 plus the 3.6 million, you get an ending fund balance of 4.1 million. And fire has obligations for these funds that they have to hold to the side. They're restricted. And so when you minus these obligations, their unassigned or unreserved is 3.4. So they have 3.4 million that they can use for operations. The last fund is animal control services. Animal control services is just like your fire and EMS, but they receive funding from the local governments, the city and the county. And they receive animal control fees for adoptions. So their total revenue is 1.3 million. Their expenditure is 1 million. So their overreach is 265,000. Their beginning fund balance was 549,000. And when you add add the 549 and the 265, you receive a total of 815,000 in fund balance. But animal control has obligations too. They have some outstanding POs, outstanding encumbrance. So their total unreserved or unassigned is 759,000, meaning they have 759,000 that they can use for operations. The next report is general fund, and it just gives you details of the revenue. And again, the total revenue for the taxes so far received 21% of budget. for revenue for taxes. And for intergovernmental intergovernmental, that was majority of it is grant funds. And as you're aware, this year we are not including grant funds in general fund. However, last year they were included. So when you compare, and also there's no budget for this section. For charges for services, and this is Parks and Rec fees. This is our tree replacement. And when you take a look at this section, this section for charges for services has collected 41% of total budget. In your courts and law enforcement, this is court fees, judicial fees. So far, you've collected 61% of your budget. And the use of property and money, this is investments of interest for the bank accounts. We collected well over what was budgeted for this section. Next is miscellaneous. Again, this is insurance, the biggest amount, or the amount that was not budgeted for. So it's projecting, it's listing that we've received well over the budget, and that is due to insurance claims that we've received off of property. And other financing sources, this is where the ARPA funds are for the salary incentives that were received for last year. And for total revenue, you've collected 23.75%. And for the month of August, you should be at about 66%. But again, majority of your revenue is coming towards the end of the year. The next section is expenditures. So for general fund, total expenditures are under budget. You're at 64, you have spent 64.24% of your budget. And as I mentioned, you should be at about 66%. So you're trending under budget 2.43%. So you are under budget. The next is the unink. And for your unink, your revenue, you've collected 28.84% of your budget. And as I mentioned, the insurance premium tax, you're not scheduled to receive that until the ending of October. The next, for the unink, your total expenditures, you are under budget by 2.49%. You're trending under budget. So as of October, the unink fund was under budget by 2.49%. Your next fund is your fire protection services and EMS. Total revenue collected so far, you've collected 77.29% of your budget. So you're trending very well with your revenue. Your expenditures are under budgeted by 5.21%. The next is animal control. Your total revenue, you've collected 71.53% of your revenue of budget towards budget. You've collected 71% of the budget. And your expenditures for animal control, you are 9.52% under budget. You're trending under budget as of August for your animal control. The next is your loss trends. When comparing to last year, 2022, for the month of August, you're over 266,000. A good portion of the overage is due to the amount that you're collecting. Last year, you were allocated 66.30%. However, this year, you're receiving 69.05%. So you will receive more funding each month due to your increased percentage allocation. Now for your host, when comparing to last year for August, you've collected in host 3.3 million. Last year, 3.1 million. So you're about 222,000 over last year's collection. The next is showing your PAYGO total amount and your PAYGO, and this is only checks cut. It does not include encumbrance, but for checks cut and what's in the bank is $35.1 million, and this is for your SPLOST 2016. The next is the healthcare fund. And as you recall, 2021 and 2022, that was during, coming out of the COVID, and the fund, we were not receiving that many claims. However, it looks like the activity of claims are coming back. So your revenue, the charges for services, the premiums that the employees pay, you're at 9.4 million in revenue. However, your total expenses is at 10.7 million. So you're at a loss of 1.2 million. However, you do have fund balance because of the years that due to COVID and that activity wasn't a lot of activity in those prior years. You were putting money into your fund balance. You were adding to your fund balance. So your beginning fund balance in your health fund is 6.5, and of course these funds are restricted and it's only for your claims. So you're at 6.5 million, and with the loss of the 1.2, it drops your net position to 5.2 million. You are currently, your total expenses is at 66.26%, which you are still slightly under budget, about 0.41%. So you're trending right on target with this fund. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you, Director Miller. I followed everything, and hopefully the citizens can. I know financial reporting may not be the most exciting of topics per se, but it definitely shows you the health of an organization if you're able to really understand what's being said. So I appreciate you taking the time and your thoughtfulness on this. Couple of questions I've got. I'll just take them as I heard them. All right. So since we talk about insurance here as part of legislation, as you heard me this morning, talk to me about. All right, we've got workers' comp, we've got pension, and we've got health care, general health. This net position you said we've got, have we been paying the required or the recommended? How do we get to the 6.5? Now we're down to 5.2. Tell me how we got there, Roslyn, for the record.
Well, so when you say the required and recommended, that is your retirement. Yeah, and that's right. That's your retirement. But this is just your health care. So when someone has a claim, if they break their arm, the county actually pays it. They actually pay out the claim.
Yep.
So your 10 million, that means you've had 10 million in claims for this year.
Right. And I just want to drive home that we got 1,200 employees, roughly 1,400 employees,
Yeah.
10 million in claims. That's actually now confirmed, that's little cash payout. Is that correct, Director Miller?
That is correct.
10 million worth of accidents, all things being. Right, we have to pay that off to the top. All right, before we get into everything else that we may get to, those are some of the, but that liability is off the top, correct? Along with, go ahead.
Yeah, that is correct. The county, just like the employee pays the portion of the premium, and then the county pays a portion also. So together, that becomes your revenue. That's your revenue.
Mm-hmm. And all right, we'll leave it there. My second question is, since we're talking about insurance, there's workers' comp and then there's general insurance. Explain the difference. Or claims wise, you got workers' comp, I got injured, and then I got my normal employee benefit of health, which is vision, dental,
right?
Medical. Can you?
Yeah, workers' comp is if you get hurt at work, and if so, the county's self-insured, so they are also, pay out. They'll pay the claim, and the health fund, which includes your dental, eyes, and your actual health insurance, your health. It is when, if you, go to the doctor, if you, like I said, break your arm, or the county will actually pay the claim, but the employee is paying a portion. It's taken out of their check.
All right, so in those two cases, you got workers' comp, which is on the job, and the health is on behalf of the job. Which one was the 10 million?
It's your health insurance,
right,
dental, yeah.
Zero health, so that's health just taking care of us, eyes, dental, health, got it. And so that's important to keep them healthy, to keep them active, because without them, we can't deliver services. Without my first responders, without the guys like you guys just keeping up with the money, without y'all being healthy, obviously we could not deliver services. So understood, we get it like any other company or private sector as well. Talk about workers' comp. How is those claims going?
I haven't, for the month of August, I haven't reviewed those yet.
Well, relative to July, I mean, whatever, just having a conversation.
Yeah, they're fine too. Well, with the workers' comp, it's based off of your position. So we automatically set money aside after each pay period to cover the cost of, because of course, a police officer's workers' comp is going to be higher than civilian. So it's based off of the position. So usually those run, you know, we have enough in there because we're actually paying for every single employee.
What is that amount roughly that we got? Do we have it as a line item that's easily to access?
No, it's in a separate fund also. It's not with general fund or with your 4 major funds.
Okay. All right, so if I got 10 million for health, how much do I have for workers' comp? Just in general, I'm trying to frame these top line expenses, top line liabilities.
Let me take a look. Let's see.
Since we want to get into our next set of meetings, will be in budget cycle. So that's the finance committee. We're just teaming up with the public. Things to look for in the future.
It's about, let me see, last year. It is running about 100,000.
A year?
Yes. This year we're at 51,000.
Workers' comp injuries.
Yes.
That's for the month or for the year?
That's for the year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not usually that much for workers' comp.
And we're self-insured, right? We just.
That is correct.
Oh, wow. See the difference. 10 million to keep y'all healthy, keep our employees healthy. And then accidents is less than what, 1%?
Yeah. That is correct.
I mean, yeah, 1%. Very good. All right. That's all I really wanted. And then our pension, we've got what, about 200-300 people on our pension that have truly made it through the system, whether it's 80-20 or 30-something odd years. You're on the books. And what is that amount outstanding? Liability wise, I think we were forced to have to, we weren't forced, we were ordered. So we have to disclose those in our CAFR.
Yeah, for the retirement,
Yes.
the required.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe it was close to 9 million.
So
That, yeah, and we usually do based off of what they're recommending.
So our 9 million in pension is equivalent almost to our healthcare for our existing employees. So how many employees are in the pension? Last time I heard was like 200-300. Was that much?
No, everybody isn't. Yeah, anybody with 5 years.
Paying into the pension, but who currently is drawing?
Oh, I do believe, yeah, I think it is about 200.
Yes, I thought.
Yeah, but we all have to, yeah, but everyone's putting in, you have to, the reason why the 9 million is that you have an actuarial that takes a look at it and states like if everybody retires now, you have to have enough to cover it. So they're stating that, you know, you need to put in 9 million for, you know, this year and continue at that rate or higher. So you'll have enough to pay everybody out.
Everybody out that's currently in the system, meaning they're 200.
Yeah, the 1,200, right.
200,
yeah.
Right. So.
Well,
right.
Not only them, the 200 plus everybody that's in the plan, everybody in the plan that is vested, you're going to have to, even somebody that's just been here 5 years and they're still working, we have to put in enough money to cover that person when they retire. Let's say if they're only 25, you have to put in enough. That's where the 9 million comes. It's a calculation that they do to state that this will be enough for if everybody retires, you'll have enough to cover.
I know it's rolling, and as we expand,
that is correct. Yeah.
No, and I understand. I won't belabor it. I know we use a third party. Was it GEPCOR? Is our third party? Do they manage that for us?
I believe they do.
ACCG. Yeah. I think it's GEPCOR. So we're part of we're not self-managing this ourselves. We're not like the bigger counties where we've got a group over there that's managing our pensions and investing on our behalf. We've got a third party service provider through ACCG, the Association of County, whatever it is, County of Georgia, County Commissions of Georgia. And I think it's about 100 so odd counties that are probably moderate or less in size that are part of this big fund that was created. So, but do we evaluate that from time to time? Are they doing okay on behalf of us? Do we ever look at that?
Yeah, I think that is a topic, just to take a look at to make sure, is looking at, our portfolio for the retirement and, all of our insurance, health insurance, all benefits. We are taking a look at that.
Okay, we'll come back to it. No problem. Got a couple more questions here. Grants. Are we doing okay on grants? And so Jill, I know we've got the ARPA grants. I understand that at some point you guys are going to present to the Board of Commissioners our reset list. And then how are we doing on grants that are not associated with the ARPA, but as I always call that the other 55 million. How are we approaching? How are you doing? How are you doing? I know Landmark, I know we gave them some type of on-demand contract at our last meeting. So just tell me, where do we stand with grant administration? That's all I'm looking for. I'm not after anything.
Sure. For ARPA, we did extend Landmark's contract for program management, so they will continue with us for another year. At this time, working on our ARPA grant, we have expended, we're about at the halfway mark. We've got some projects that probably need to come off the list, and I'm going to present the board with some options of things to replace those projects. And it mainly is just timeline purposes. We can't get them in under the timeline with the amount of work it's going to take. And then some, we ended up getting some state funds for that we didn't have to use the federal ARPA money. So I'll come to you guys soon with a recommendation for that. But as far as reporting, we are on time with our reporting. We're in compliance with our with the Department of Treasury, and we are actively doing subrecipient monitoring on our subs for ARPA funds. For general grant administration, we are running strong with receiving federal dollars. We are in the process of moving, the grants out of the general fund into their own fund. I have requested in next year's budget software to help manage our robust catalog of grants that we have in the county. Right now, we're doing everything on Excel spreadsheets. That makes it extremely difficult. And so I've asked for that in next year's budget, and I'm hoping the board approves it, and we will be able to give you guys much more regular reports on how things are going and where we are with exact dollar amounts outside of me having to manually do that on a spreadsheet. But I feel like we're in good shape. We've got a lot of things coming. Y'all will also see a grant policy that we have updated. We've spent the past year updating the grants policy, and I believe as part of the budget retreat that will be presented to y'all before the end of the year. So I look forward to that, where we can bring some uniformity to just how we're processing grants from throughout its whole life cycle.
That's awesome. That was a great update. That's exactly what I was looking for. And to your point, grant policy will be part of the legislative package that the board will consider this year. So I look forward to the work that you've done regarding that, the formality. And we do recognize everything was on spreadsheets. When we first started back in 2016, when we were going to New York, when we brought Dr. Corbin and Terminus in, it was just to do a simple spreadsheet. I mean, our level of sophistication has really matured over time. It's like, okay, guys, we're running this big $100 million operation, 1,000 people, and we're still doing things by spreadsheets. And it was okay. It's like, we just do better, but not, it was more of a constructive comment. And like, okay, come on, guys, there's tools out there. It's okay that you've taken it as far as you can take it. but there's a higher level of transparency and accountability that we're going to be faced with. And so I'm glad that you guys are, especially you, are embracing some of these things. So I don't see much resistance. I doubt as much. There's going to be resistance for it. But once we buy these tools, once we support these tools, it's just, are we using them? Will you use them? Will you give us the data?
I assure you, I will use them. I need them, and I am excited for the possibility of getting them. It will make, right now I spend so much time doing manual entry and stuff, and it will save me time where I can focus and be more efficient in my job. So it's definitely needed.
And I appreciate, I know the role that when you got given this assignment, our grant process internally was, you had 2-3 sets of books of grants, and depends on what department you were in. I didn't share with this person, like, look, I get it. We asked you, like, okay, give us a single view of our grants. We get how things organically grew out in the forest. It wasn't a manicured garden, but we're like, okay, come on, guys, we got to clean this up. Let's edge this up. Let's get a single view. So I do get it. So the uniformity, I'm going to use your word. That's right, maturity and uniformity. So I'm going to leave one more for you, is that in this morning's meeting, I don't know if you were there, but we're talking about certain topics and certain grants. I think this was regarding the museum and MOUs. I'm not using the museum as a topic, but the MOU process, are you fine with it? You worked it out with the county attorney and stuff, and the county clerk, and are we good on MOUs and put a little small guys that want little grants? How are we doing on that?
Yeah, I think we've come up with a good process. I call it the community services program. We've got this year was kind of hit off to a slow start as we were working through, but as soon as the budget's approved, I hope to be ready and the application cycle start, where you guys will have the list to approve, by the first meeting in February. I think I'm comfortable. Legal developed the MOU. It was not something we developed internally. Legal has approved my process and feels like the setup for it is working well. The organizations are completing their quarterly reporting, and I'm uploading those into a OneDrive folder where y'all have access to everything I have, and you can keep track of what everybody's doing with the county taxpayers' funds.
Okay, well, to that point, I have not seen that. Nothing, no pun intended. But let's ensure that the full board has access to those grants. That's something that Commissioner Alcorez has mentioned today, which is like, okay, are they? Because we always ask it. There's every now and then you get either this group of, grants that the board chooses to put up forth, or these one-offs. But we're still here. We are in mid-year. We're like, okay, what reports that?
Yeah, absolutely. I sent them out, and I will get with I'll get with our IT staff and figure out what happened there, because you guys were sent all of the reports in a OneDrive folder following the July reporting period. Because of the delay, that was the only reporting period we've had so far, and October 15th will be the next due date for the organization. So I'll try and figure out what happened to that.
That's going to be important. So at least mid-year, I get quarterly, but at mid-year would have been great. So it sounds like it was working. We just didn't get it. It happens. That's why we ask questions, and so sometimes it's to our satisfaction. So, Madam AC, are you still out there? Did we lose her?
No, I'm here.
All right. So you've heard the conversation regarding external affairs and constituent services. So we had the conversation this morning regarding grants. And so there was a first round of MOUs for those small community service providers. We know we didn't use all the money that had already been appropriated in the current budget. So where do we stand with round two for people who are what we call shovel ready? In other words, those that are along with the museum and anybody else, where's that list? And do you know that? Can we answer it now? We can wait till later, tomorrow.
So I'll have to give a Ms. Hobson to find out exactly, of that original approved list, who has everything in that's needed, and those that may be missing a few things. So since this morning I've been in constant meetings and I haven't had an opportunity to reach out to her, but I will get with her after this meeting to see if we can get that information. If for some reason we can't have it together by tomorrow, and we'll definitely try to get it on the next agenda.
Yeah, there was only there were some that were outstanding. If you're going to do the museum, do these ones that had already been in there. So if somebody is sponsoring this one, what about the other ones that were already in queue? So we're going to do them. If you got 2 or 3 that are truly ready, then we need to bring them all forth tomorrow, and we'll amend it accordingly. Put them on the list. We've already appropriated if they're already ready, but you guys will reconcile that for me. So that's all I need you to do. Check the list. And I don't expect you to do it, man, ACA, but I know that's why you have staff. But that's something that we talked about this morning. All right.
I will get with her after this meeting. Thank you.
All right. Then, all right. So my last thing, and Ross, and this is for you. Help me understand this. So I know we got the big board meeting coming up. Now, I don't know what happened in our board of commissioner military conversation. And I don't know, maybe the computer was down or the spreadsheet could not open, but all I was asking for during that meeting was, okay, what would be the cost difference of the $60 for the $60,000 for the first responders or not? Now, we've historically in every meeting, but since you've been on board, and at least since historically, there's always this readiness to at least answer the commissioner's question. Doesn't mean it was going to go anywhere. Whether we're trying to be intelligent in front of our citizens or we're really making a point. Usually we're more responsive. So I wanted to make sure that it seemed like there was some, no one miscommunication. It was just sort of, I think it was misinterpretation of at least my office, my district for saying, oh, come on, guys. Yeah, I know I'm just looking for some data. Was there something wrong? Did I miss something there? Because it was like, okay, but you came back maybe 3 or 4 minutes later and says, okay, that's what I was asking for, but what did I miss? Well, why was there such resistance to answering a board of commissioners, any commissioners' questions on the floor? What was that all about? Do y'all know?
No, I don't think it was. Yeah, I didn't see, like you said, I did provide the number, so I didn't notice anything. It just, takes just a minute.
Yeah.
So okay. Calculated, but yeah.
Yeah, it went from you to Danielle to being opine, but okay, wait a minute, I gotta go through 3 people?
Yeah, well, I guess the change was just, it wasn't as straight, forward as one might think. And just as you mentioned, we have it on spreadsheet, so, and only one item was changed, but you really have, only one position was changed, but you really have to look at 2. So I think it was just an item that probably just takes some pause because it's not just plugging in the 60,000. Because we were talking about 2 positions. We were talking about certified deputies and then non, but only one was changed.
No, I get it. No problem. But again, so we're going into budget, but that's what we're looking for staff to do. If we're looking at legislation and we're trying to figure out what the fiscal impact to a decision right now, without the decision support, without that real time, then we sort of get boxed. We have too much. That's my point. We got too much technology around us. So where I'm going, I'm just making a point, was like, okay, follow this.
Yeah, if it's straightforward and just plug in a number,
yeah,
Commissioner, you'll always get the answer immediately. But when we just pause, when it's a variable, when you're talking about 2 different numbers that can impact, and on the floor, it's just you don't want to provide the wrong number when it's kind of more complicated and just changing a number. But if it's easy and something we will provide immediately, we have Excel and calculators, so not a problem. But we just ask for a little grace if it is a little more difficult than just plugging in one number. That's all. I think it was just a little more difficult.
Now, favor's not fair, and I'm all things finance. So you always have grace. Yeah. You don't need mercy. You got plenty of grace. Because here's the thing, I know how you flow. I've been with you too long to know that you have multiple scenarios. Pick one. You want 15%, 10%, 20%. You've already have them baked in. Now what gets presented to the board is whatever the recommendation is, but you've always had multiple lanes. Best case, worst case, more likely case. So it's more just, that was just the first time, like, okay, it sort of caught me off guard. It was like, whoa, this is all relative, but here's where I'm going. I'm gonna leave it at this without belaboring the moment, which is, okay, we're gonna set the millage rate first. Then we're gonna amend the budget second. And I sat there, I'm like, I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna see how this is gonna play out. Because while I think you guys had the executive branch on point in what I wanted to present to the board proper, you guys failed the legislative part. Was like, and maybe you didn't. All I know, board at any time they get to legislate. They get to take some component, some provision in here. I want this number. That's not enough. Well, that's too much. Just like we reduce the museum, we increase the first responders. They both get to coexist. So now one is bigger than the other. I know the one is weighted more than the other. I do get that, but so I'm saying, okay, well, if I raised up that first responder, then the corresponding is that, okay, y'all are already capped yourselves with the millage rate. Now, if I was doing this spreadsheet, I would be like, Nevada, what you did, and it's like, well, maybe we should only reduce it down to 12.5, 12.4 versus 12.31. But we capped ourselves. And then we sit up there and we raised the budget. We're like, now that just put us in a very, I'm looking forward to that resolution of like, okay, y'all know we just did, right? Now, during the meeting, this is important for the record. Yeah, we just blew through our policy. Ooh, we got a cap. Now, during that meeting, there could have been a reconsideration to go back and revisit the millage rate. You could have went back, right? Only in that meeting, we always went to NACO, we all went to Austin, we all had this great class on parliamentary rules. On that day, you could revisit that based on we made that budget decision after the millage rate. Well, let's reconsider that. Not that it would have went anywhere, but still you could have reconsidered it. But once we got out there, as you know, once that day is over, there is no do-over. There are no do-overs. So then now we've got to reconcile this during the budget. And I can't wait to see what y'all do regarding the budget retreat. This is going to be interesting. How are you going to reconcile? It's not how you're going to do it. I know you're going to do it. But it's just like, be thoughtful, bring the board options. And that's all I had to say. I had to put that for the record of Chair of Finance. I know exactly what went down. I knew that we weren't flexible enough to be able to accommodate, like, all right, that's your intent. Then that was your intent. But it's sort of like, okay, that one, like, ooh. All right, so where's everybody's mind? Are y'all learning? Are y'all growing? But staff, one more time, it was like we're being led down a certain path and y'all didn't anticipate what happened. And it was like, oops. And I'm like, okay, come on, guys, we usually work a little bit more closer than that. Right, then y'all anticipate that there was gonna be some legislation, or you thought we were just gonna do a yes or no, up or down, which we've never done in the budget in all these years, some type of budget item. But anyway, I'm gonna leave that at that. I don't want y'all to respond. I just had to say that for the record. Madam ACA, are you okay? Because we won't get out of here. Roslyn did a great job as far as the budget, the financial report. It's only relevant until we get into next month, which is the actual retreat. So I don't want to have to belabor the current month, and it was just in August. But any questions, Madam MCA? You good on what you heard?
Yes, sir. I think Director Miller did an excellent job presenting her information today.
Okay. You don't get the last word. Let me make sure everybody else. Wait a minute. I know David Good was out there. David, are we okay? Again, back to I heard the comment that was made by Madam Vice Chair this morning regarding the turnout gear for the roughly 45 people for some fire station. What fire station was that, and what people have been budgeted? Is that for fire station number 9? Do you know?
And as far as I know, I do know fire station number 9 is supposed to have 45 firefighters. So more than likely, that's probably it.
Okay. Ross, you got any insight on that?
The grant is for just new hires, so doesn't have to be for fire station 9. It could just be for, any fire station.
Got it.
And yeah, because I believe they have budgeted funds for the new hires for Station 9. Everything has been budgeted for that station already.
Good. Got it. All right. I'm just asking the question because it's coming down the pipe. Thank you, Dave, for that. So is Suzanne still out there? If the deputy director's out there, how are you doing in your, I guess you're on the operations side. How's your team coming? How are they doing? I know it's early. I'm just going to ask you anyway. Are you doing your 90-day assessment on what you're looking at? And I'm quite sure that there's be some policies or some changes that you're going to recommend, if not this cycle, definitely by our next cycle. Is that accurate?
I'm really just kind of getting my feet wet with everything. I am hesitant to, make any decisions right now. I want to make sure I have a solid understanding. But I am, Rosalind and I are having regular conversations and everything. So I'm sure there will be changes on down the pike by next month. Maybe definitely within a couple months, I would think. But I don't want to make any decisions too quickly that we might regret. So we know there are some things that need to be changed. Just want to make sure that we're making the right changes.
Sounds good. As with anybody at the directorship, we give room. I just want to put that out there. That no, it's your leadership. It's your call. So you get your, as they say, you get that 90 days to 6 months to figure it out. Do your assessment. But there is no pressure. You just have windows of time of opportunity to get stuff done. Things that can come before the board versus one-offs. I'm just sort of educate. Like, okay, going through the budget and legislative process. If you can make it this round, that's great. If not, catch the next round. It's nothing but just more of that. We're just communicating. So I look forward to whatever you see and say. We'll leave it at that.
Great,
All right.
thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Director Miller, you closed out. Any final words?
No final words. August looks good. We're still trending under budget. And hopefully, we end 2023 under budget. It looks like everyone's paying attention to their expenditures and their budget. So everyone's doing a great job.
Okay. So, all right. So great. Sounds good. I'm glad to hear that. And everybody's managing their money accordingly. And I appreciate that we put that financial report up there so everybody can see everybody's budget according on a monthly basis. Last thing, and then, as you know, we had that financial policy that says anything regarding the budget, especially the formal budget, must come through the finance committee. Now, and especially before it gets adopted, we must sign up on it. I know the next meeting we're going to be the first week of October. We're going into a retreat. Constitutional officers, then you guys as staff representing to the board. I'd like to at least see it at least that Wednesday, since we're not meeting until Thursday, Friday. I need to see what you guys are going to present by way of budget. Can you ensure that we follow the policy that's on the books? That we don't have to do it. We won't have another committee meeting until after that. I, as chair, need to see that. Can you ensure we fulfill that, Rosalind? Tiffany? Somebody? Hello? Did we lose everyone?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on
we are. When is? Because what are we about 2 weeks out from the retreat?
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
goodness, I just realized that. Yeah, I will get with Dr. Corbin and the finance team, and hopefully we'll have all the information ready to go early that week so we can get it out accordingly.
I just need at least a draft by that Wednesday. I know how it flows. I know how finances work, but you got to talk to me by Wednesday to be in compliance with our policy. And so I don't want to walk in their code and I haven't seen anything. So you guys got it. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Y'all got it. All right, Rosin, that it? You ready to know that's it?
Yes, that is it.
All right, guys, we won't belabor this. Great meeting. I mean, again, we found a common thread to talk about financials, and hopefully the public benefited from this, and we've codified it for all times history, because we are transparent and we are integritous as it relates to these numbers. And so I appreciate you guys working toward a better tomorrow. With that being said, let the September 18th, 2023 Finance Committee of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners stand adjourned.